Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Atelier, Resleriana, the Red Alchemist, and the White Guardian, which just launched on PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Nintendo Switch. If you're new to the Atelier series, I've got a separate video linked in the description which explains the franchise in detail, so please check that out if you haven't already. And before I get started, a huge thank you to Koei Tecmo America for providing me with review codes. I personally bought the insane 50,000 yen Galaxy Super Deluxe Edition, which comes with a framed art piece, full-size blanket, all sorts of other goodies. I can't wait. Let's just start with the TLDR. The game is phenomenal. It's not just a good Atelier game, it's a great modern JRPG in general. It not only joins Sophie 2 and Ryza as great first entries into the series, but I think it sits at the top for all new players. This is going to be my de facto recommendation when people say they want to try an Atelier game. My playtime was roughly 30 hours, but keep in mind I am a veteran of these games, and about 40 hours for me to get all the achievements. There are no missable items in this game, so play with ease. The difficulty was tuned to be very easy, I think for all players to enjoy, but there are plenty of options to amp it up for a lot more fun. I reviewed the PC version, built in Unity by Gust and Team Ninja, and honestly this is the best performance I've seen on an Atelier game on PC. My specs are overpowered, but you can see from the recommended specs that it's not a very demanding game. I did get to play the Switch version on the Switch 2, and while I hope they eventually release a patch for the Switch 2, it ran well, and I think they did a lot of work to reduce draw distance and details to just ensure that smooth gameplay is the focus. So what is Resleriana? If you've tried the recent Atelier Yumiya and you didn't like it, don't worry. That game was quite experimental, and this is a traditional Atelier game through and through. The Resleriana in the name refers to the 25th major release in the franchise for its 25th anniversary. Think of it like Monster Hunter Generations and how that was a combination of the titles that came before it. Resleriana games take place in a cosmic crossroads universe where characters from different Atelier series find themselves transported to. It's super fun for existing fans to see mashups of their favorite characters, and it's a great way to just introduce the great cast of characters to new players. The free-to-play PC mobile game that shut down in the West but is still going strong in Japan was the first Resleriana title, but this story is standalone and doesn't require any previous knowledge at all. What makes Atelier games unique is that they take the crafting aspect, which is normally just a small minigame in an RPG, and it makes it just as much a major part as the exploration and combat. This is where the series as a Monster Hunter fan hooked me instantly, gathering materials and crafting them to make new weapons and items that you can overcome next hurdles. Give it a cozy and cute feel, slice-of-life stories, and character-driven narratives, and you've got yourself a traditional Atelier game. Now before I jump into my detailed thoughts on the story, crafting, and battle systems, here's an overview of the game's structure. The game centers around a single hub town, and as you play, it'll gradually grow from a kind of barren dump to a very vibrant city. This is where the main story, events, quest board, and shops are all located, as well as your atelier where you do all your crafting. As you progress, you'll unlock these areas which you can explore, and these act as open fields with lots of stuff to farm, monsters to fight, and unlockable treasure chests as you obtain the necessary items to reach them all. And then you have dimensional dungeons. These are a set of 5, 10, or at the max 15 floors, and it's where you can collect a huge number of items, fight various monsters, find fairies that can give your run various boosts, and you can even hire them to help you in your shop. Beat dungeons to unlock recipes and other key items to help push along the story. When you say dungeon and you say like there's many floors and it's random generated, it might sound hardcore, but these are super chill. You can choose if you want to engage monsters here in battle or just walk around them if you're looking for an item or just want to get to the end, but you will have to fight a boss at the 5th floor in order to exit. The stage layouts are randomly generated, but they're generally pretty condensed, so there's not a lot of getting lost or anything like that, and each dungeon has its own special quirk. Like one focuses on items, giving you more powered up items, unlimited item usages and stuff like that, and another one might focus more on skills, so it'll buff up all your skills and your gauge increase, but make items pretty weak. Overall, I love the dungeons. They add great variety, they're super condensed, so you can just walk in there and farm like 500 items like in no time, and it's just a fun way to do something and earn some cool items that will ultimately help you in your crafting. The basic loop is you'll use materials you've gathered either in the field or the dungeons to craft items in your atelier. These items are used to deck out your characters for battle, and you can sell excess in your shop and deliver crafted milestone items to unlock the caps to develop your city. With each development of the city comes new story, characters, areas, and dungeons to explore. Beat each of the dungeons and work towards the next milestones for the town to progress. The shop is not really like a simulation game-like element, which I was a little scared it might be. It's just a fun and easy way to make a lot of money by selling excess materials and items you've crafted, and it helps the town flourish as well. The main challenge of the game really is to unlock the recipes to craft the key items that you need to rank up the town. Everything else is just a supportive feature to help you do that. Okay, now let's go into my thoughts on each major aspect of the game. Story and characters. The story has that cozy slice of life vibe, but with real stakes as the backdrop, which is great because it helps me feel motivated to continue the story and see what comes next. Characters feel natural and not just shoehorned in to fill a role, and the relationships are genuine and their motivations understandable. And the cameos, absolutely fantastic. You'll see faces from nearly 30 years of Atelier history, and the game weaves them in beautifully. They don't spoil their own stories, but they talk about them and connect with Rias and Slade through relatable experiences. It hits that balance to feel real special when you know the context behind it all, but intriguing enough that once you go and play their games, you'll appreciate and enjoy seeing what they were talking about. Being story and vibe related, I think getting to know the new characters is half the fun, so I'll just say that Slade is a nice guy, not cocky or overdramatic like a lot of JRPG men are, and Rias is adorable. Where other Atelier protagonists can sometimes go into that goofy, adorable, or bubbly archetypes, Rias strikes that right balance of a character, and she brings a wide range of emotions to her coming of power story. When in doubt or in a jam, around each turn is one of the series' beloved characters and protagonists to help give her a nudge in the right direction, finding ways to relate to her despite Rias' journey into alchemy being quite unique. The supporting cast also is a great mix. We've got Reyes from Manakemia, which is a pretty deep cut that most fans won't know, so you may as well consider him a new character. Totori from the Arlen trilogy, she's timid and cute but sharp with a quirky sense of humor. Will Bell from the Dust series, carefree and grounded and keeps the group moving forward. And then finally Sophie from the Mysterious trilogy, arguably one of the best alchemists in the franchise, reliable and powerful. Their chemistry works magic, and even the voice ranges balances out quite nicely. All 6 fit in your team, so you'll never have to deal with swapping which characters you want to take with you and which not, and they will cover each of the different battle archetypes. In previous games, there would be like a friendship level that you would have to increase through doing battles with a specific character or interactions with them to trigger their next personal story scene. This time, instead of that, you just get fully curated side stories for each character, no grinding required. This includes Sophie, Totori, Reyes, Will Bell, and the 4 new characters as well. And then you have well over a dozen cameos where past protagonists will appear in the town for a side quest, and these bonding quests will help you meet new characters, connect with them in their stories, and then they can be chosen in the menu to help deliver some useful items. Battle system. Combat is that familiar turn-based system but with some nice twists. You can time a guard now for a precision block, which helps cancel out status effects. Guarding in this game is not strict. It's not like Expedition 33. It's meant to be more of a bonus than a must. Difficulty is adjustable at any time with no consequences. On normal, it's pretty easy, letting you focus on crafting. If you find the game too easy, don't be afraid to move it up to hard or very hard, as mechanics like interrupts, item mix, and turn order and panels become much more engaging. It's a smart balance, just play how you like. For most players, it'll feel pretty fast-paced, you're always in control, with dynamic swapping between the front 3 and the back 3 characters to pull off flashy attacks. If you put in a little effort with the crafting, you can get some crazy good results, and at that point I think probably hard or very hard will feel more like normal for you. I think they went with normal being so easy because they don't want to assume people know how to craft and enhance stuff, and they didn't want that to be the default because this game is meant to be fun and refreshing to play. The Alchemy System. This is where Atelier games shine, and this game nails it, leaning more on the easy to understand side in the breadth of all the different games out there. It's very beginner friendly. If you want to keep it simple, the game will auto-sort materials so that the first one you select is always of the right color and type, but experimentation is heavily rewarded. Combining traits like Critical Plus and Critical Plus Plus on items will create new stronger effects. Mid-game, they'll unlock catalysts, Which, let's say you have a crazy skill or item that you really want to use in a craft, but it's not the right type of material, or it's not the right color. Well, once per craft, you can change one of these items using a catalyst, and that'll allow you to link up things that you normally can't. This just opens up the possibilities to crazy levels. Again, you don't have to engage with this stuff. You can just create items, and I think you'll play the game just fine, but putting in that little effort to sort of tweak things, you get huge rewards. Early in the game, you even get a fairy in your atelier that helps you duplicate items for a small fee. The loot becomes easy. Explore the dungeons, unlock recipes, craft a great item, then duplicate it. It's efficient, rewarding, and still deep if you want to go all in. One critique I have is that the game doesn't really tell you how to get new recipes, so if you feel like you're missing the next one or you can't find out how to progress, just check the shops in town to see if you've bought all the unlockable recipes, and make sure that you've beaten all the dimensional dungeons that are available. That includes going to the 10th floor on the hard dungeons, not just leaving at floor 5. Do that, and you'll be golden. Gameplay and quality of life. The main town has a clever circular layout with districts for guarding, merchants, cooking, and more. Gathering is super fast and fun. It's like an ADHD trap if you ask me. You just use your whip and you can just grab any item around you as you're running around. Just feels great. Now, you might see a clip of me going absolutely ham in a late dungeon and think that it's over the top, but don't worry. You don't need to collect everything. Item density is higher in the dungeons and fields, and the game even lets you preview what you might get from a drop before you decide to farm it. Quality of life is everywhere. Teleports keep travel snappy and are smartly located. Battles can run at up to triple speed if you're just going through and want to grind. Enemies are super easy to avoid, so you don't have to fight if you don't want to. Selling items is pretty much instant. Even for the shop, you're not gated by some weird let's wait from an in-game timer and see what sells. You just put it up, sell it, get the reward. As with previous games, I highly recommend you go into settings and change sprint to the toggle option, as being able to run everywhere by default is basically what most players will want to do. The design philosophy was clear. Respect the player's time and let you dive in as deep as you want. One tip I have to give you, since I was stuck for a little bit trying to find a key item, is besides making sure that you've got that checkbox at the end of a dungeon and you got the recipe at the end, is to look at the regular fields and make sure that you've collected all the treasure chests that you can get. The icons disappear once you have them, which makes it very easy to tell if there's any left. If you see a wire icon that is grayed out, it means that you don't have the whip upgraded to a point where you can reach it, but make sure you get all the chests that you can access when you enter an area for the first time. Presentation. The presentation hits all the right notes. The music is classic Atelier. It's chill, Celtic, rural, country sounding, and cozy. It's not the best soundtrack compared to the other titles in the franchise, but it's enjoyable. The voice acting here is fantastic as usual, and even if you don't understand Japanese, the performance adds so much to the charm.
私の体に何かついてますか？
いえ、そういうわけではない。
ちょっとスレイ、そんなジロジロ見たら失礼じゃない。
お前だって見てただろ。
And visually, it avoids that saucy vibe of the mobile game. Rias looks great. She's stylish, sporty, naturally pretty without leading into fan service, and the companions are wholesome and endearing. Finally, I must note that the English localization is superb. The dialogue reads really nice, it matches the tone and the meaning of the Japanese closely while keeping it natural and not reading like a translation, if you know what I mean. Final thoughts. I had huge expectations going in, and this game still managed to exceed them. After the experiments with Yumiya, this is a real return to its roots, and while I personally enjoyed Yumiya a lot, I get why many didn't. It was quite a departure from the main franchise, and Resleriana is a way to sort of balance that out. I'd love to see other franchises mimic this approach though, take the amazing assets and knowledge from the mobile projects and turn them into polished, standalone console and PC RPGs. For me, Atelier Resleriana is a delight to play, and an easy recommendation whether you're brand new to the series or a longtime fan. A natural jump off here is to Sophie 2, if you want to get more in-depth crafting, or Rise of DX Trilogy coming out this November if you're more into that slice of life adventure. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you check out my video on the franchise and give this game a shot, and until next time, happy crafting.